Hey, everybody, this is Rick Seagraves of the Laketown Podcast.
I'm Matthew Willett, also with Laketown Podcast. We've got Eric Rasset of Truckmate Toppers with us today.
Eric, how are you doing today?
Good. Yourself, boys?
I'm doing pretty good.
Good deal.
Just kind of want to know a little bit about you and your business and how you became the owner of said business. I think it's a pretty fun, well, sad but fun story on how you were able to take something from what it was to now what it is.
Absolutely. So, born 1977, grew up on Clearwater Lake till 88, and then folks moved into town on Pleasant Lake. Grew up pretty much there. Bought my first house in town, 71 Cherry Avenue, little tiny place, but great starter home. And from there, we bought some land out in between South Haven and Kimball, and been living there for the last 20 years. Before Truckmate Toppers, I was in the cell phone tower industry. Started out maintaining lighting systems and climbing towers. Was able to take an office position where I just did the audits of the towers from the ground. So it became a lot of overnights away from the family, and we just decided that we needed something needed to change. So my uncle Don Rasset, or Minnow as everybody knew him, was looking to retire, and at that time he was also been diagnosed with cancer. So the family was looking to get out of the business, and it was just a very good timing that we were able to step in and kind of pick up where he left off, and it's been great. Tons of time home with the family, home every night.
I knew Minnow pretty well. He was always at softball fields, either playing way back in the day or coaching. Everybody knew Minnow.
Everyone knew Minnow.
I actually had to think really hard about what his first name was because nobody ever called him by his first name.
Always Minnow.
Obviously sad that he passed, but sometimes life just happens. Can't really do much but pick up the pieces and move on.
Yeah.
But super good guy. Good to see that it stayed within the family and that you've been successful in turning what I would say he had a decent business. Yeah,
and so back up a little bit. He had a great business at one point. And it was a good business to the end, but he was definitely pulling back. Being ill had something to do with it, but he did try to retire once before that, where he'd sold the business and ended up getting it back. And once he got it back, he wasn't 100% into it anymore.
Okay, I didn't know that, and that's the part that I knew is where he was in it, but not
right. He was there.
Yeah.
So, like I said, the fishing was more important, the family was more important, softball was more important.
Priorities got realigned.
Yes, absolutely, and that was a big hurdle for me to overcome because even still get people. I wasn't sure if you'd be here or not. It was before 10:30, and so. But no, I'm there Monday through Thursday. Get there usually about 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, and who knows what time at night, 7:30, midnight, get out of there. But Fridays at noon, I'm out, spend time with the family. All winter long, we've been ice fishing. Haven't missed a weekend yet. Take that back. Last weekend was the first weekend we didn't go fishing since before Christmas.
Wow.
So, yeah, been all over South Dakota and Red Lake.
I was going to say, you're probably traveling a bit for fishing because it's been pretty dismal around here.
This year was terrible, yes.
I didn't even put my house out.
No, it is bad. So this weekend's going to be our first local lake.
Okay.
We're going to head down to Limestone and
a fisherman that even gives his secrets out as where he's going.
Well, we haven't been there yet, so I don't know if it's a secret yet or not.
If you see a post of, look at all these fish I got, well, we know where he was at.
You bet.
So now you moved the company from being primarily just toppers to and Minnow did some accessories, but you've really kind of gotten into it.
Yeah, doing wheels and tires, which he never did before. He always did running boards, tonneau covers, toppers. But yeah, like I said, the vent visors, running boards, grill guards, pretty much any aftermarket bolt-on type accessory.
I was gonna say, as a guy who's got an 8-year-old kid, Bryce loves your truck. He's seen it at the lighted parade this winter, and he's like, "Oh, that truck is awesome." I was like, "Yeah, it's not in my budget, bud. Sorry."
My daughter calls it the monster truck, so yeah, it's a little excessive, but it's a good display piece. It shows people.
Got to show what you got.
Right,
it does its part in displaying your goods.
Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you.
So speaking of, obviously you rebranded without rebranding. You kept the name similar, but not exactly the same.
Correct.
Came up with a different logo. Give us a little insight on the thought process behind that.
So he was online. Very, very little, but Truckmate Toppers was Googleable, if you will, searchable.
Googleable.
Yeah. Just branded that myself.
Yeah.
But so, and starting out, it was nice to have somewhere to start already. I mean, people knew the name. He had spelled it differently, or I changed the spelling of it. Changed the website, obviously, just to kind of give it a fresh look and start over a little bit. But yes, had Steve Beyer Designs did the logo. You said it looked like it came from Moneymaker.
Yeah, Floyd Merriweather.
Merriweather's logo, the TMT. But so
I've always thought it looks like the back of a topper.
that's what it's supposed to look like.
I mean, that's kind of what I figured it was supposed to look like. So.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just a little different look. Same general concept of everything, but just going at it a little bit harder than he was his last years. So.
Yeah, and I mean, he was at a different point in his life than you are, obviously.
Absolutely.
So the drive and determination are going to be different. The purpose for it is going to be different. Like, to have sold it and get it back, that's kind of like, oh, crap, here we go again.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of how he felt, and he never really got 100% back into it. That's my personal take on it. But anyways, so, but yeah, I mean, he had a lot of grandkids, and he loved, I mean, even just being in town, like you were saying, he's at softball games, coaching. He didn't even have kids in the game, but he was there, and he was very, very involved in the community. And that's one thing that I'm working towards too, is just to be a bigger part of the community. So you get to know so many people from all over the place. This week I'm installing a topper for a guy that lives in Alaska. That'll be my third one actually to Alaska. I've done South Dakota, North Dakota, Wisconsin does a lot of business. So it's like I don't know what I'm doing differently, but they drive past a lot of topper shops to get to me.
You're doing something right.
You bet.
Well,
and taking the time to talk to them and getting to know them. I mean, I've been invited to fishing trips with customers, and we've been invited down to Missouri deer hunting with customers. And my daughter actually got to take advantage of that a couple of years. So it's phenomenal. I mean, and those are just, they're relationships. They're not just a customer anymore.
Yeah. Well, and you can tell, and the people I've talked to and dealing with you, with my customers too, that, when you go down there, you're getting a personal experience. You're not just walking into one of the big name topper stores and
You're
they're
not
just
just
like,
another
all right,
appointment.
Here's what you can get. Which one do you want? That's it.
Yeah.
Like you.
And I think it's also different too, because when you go to the big name places, you got a salesman up front. You have no idea who's actually doing the install. You have no idea if it's getting done right or how they're doing it, whatever else. Like
And that's
you,
usually not the person
it's
calling the distributors and all that.
Right. It's a I don't want to say one man show, but
It
you
is.
are
It is.
you are involved in every facet of, which I think is pretty cool. And business wise, that makes sense too, because you're not having to pay out and cut into your bottom line.
But
you'll get there.
So I got to correct you there, though. So I'm a 1.5 man show now. So I do have some part time help.
Okay.
So
1.5.
yeah.
Sorry, whoever the half is.
Yeah. Sorry, Tony.
Tony, you only count as a half.
Yeah. So for now, but we're working on trying to get him in there more. So
Good deal.
especially in the wintertime, anyways.
So when you started, was that 19 or was it 20?
So it was would have been 19.
And you only had just pretty much enough time to put your name on the building before the world.
And then
Turned
they told
upside
me I
down.
couldn't open my door.
Yeah.
Yep. So
And then were your lead times were, we can get you this brand and this time and that to, I had one of my customers that was
16
right at the
weeks.
start of it. And all of a sudden it became, well, all right,
Is it
instead
ever
of
gonna
8
get
weeks,
here?
it's going to be maybe 10 and then it's 14 because you had no idea. So
Right.
you started your business and immediately hit.
the supply chains got cut
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
And so now that you've gone through that, and now it's maybe improving
It
a little
is
bit.
definitely getting better.
So getting through that, aside from the lead time challenges, what were kind of the biggest challenges you in the start of your business?
Learning the business aspect of it. I've always been, sales oriented. Went to school for sales, so I managed the archery department at H&H Sports Shop for 5 years. So, like I said, just actually the business end of things is my biggest challenge. Still is. So, but getting better. So, just realize that we're just going to hire an accountant to do that part.
Probably the best business move you'll make.
Yeah, right. So, keep myself out of jail and keep the bank in the red. So,
That's two solid business plans.
goal one, stay out of jail.
Stay out of
Number
jail.
two, let's make some money.
Yeah. So the lead times have improved.
Yes. So right now, fiberglass is about 3 to 5 weeks out. Aluminum still out there ways 8 to 10 weeks for unicover and about 12 weeks for ARE. That's just the aluminum shortages. Suppose that's the biggest drawback right now. So
Well, there's always a shortage of something.
of something, yes.
Something.
It's a big puzzle. That every part of
For a while,
whatever
it's
you're-
everything.
Yeah. So I mean, the topper's got multiple hundreds of pieces in it, and if one of those pieces can't be delivered,
Whole thing waits.
topper waits. Yeah. So
We experienced the same thing with
Trucks.
Trucks. I mean, it's trucks and cars. I mean, the dumbest thing we're experiencing right now, we have Trailblazers sitting at the rail yard,
and nobody
and
bring them home.
we just got them actually 2 days ago. They were sitting there, completely done cars, waiting for a new window sticker and owner's manual.
Wow.
Interesting.
They wouldn't send. So these are things that are available online. So yeah. So yeah, the waiting. So now fiberglass aluminum, what's kind of the trend? It seemed like everybody back in the day had an aluminum topper.
Yes, aluminum back in the day, they weren't used 100% of the time. A lot of guys put them on in the fall, took them off in the spring, and they used their truck for hauling stuff. Nowadays everybody's got a trailer, or they've got a buddy that's got a trailer, so the mindset's shifted a little bit, where now it's a truck accessory, not a necessity. Some guys definitely still use them for commercial uses, or contractors or whatever, where it's absolutely a necessity, and those are generally the guys that are going with aluminum. They don't look quite as nice, but they're definitely more functional. With the toolboxes or the cargo glide bed slides that you can put into them, I mean, you can pretty much customize it to whatever if you're a plumber or painter, whatever, we can build it the way you want it for drawers or bed slides. Back to the fiberglass, like I say, they're color matched, their style lines match the trucks. The windows are the same size or
They just
height.
look nicer. Just
Right,
aesthetically appealing. They
absolutely.
just look nicer.
Yep. And so the guys that used to have, so like I say, the older toppers were a thin, light duty aluminum. Very lightweight. They weighed about 65 pounds. And
Primarily to make it easier to take off and put on because
That's
you weren't using them every day.
exactly where I was going with that. Yep. And so right now, I would say maybe 5% of my sales is the classic aluminum, is what they call it. Goes to people that are over 65 years old, and they're still kind of stuck in their ways, and it doesn't.
They just need something to keep the snow off the.
Right. Keep the bed clean. And yep. So,
So speak a little bit about the commercial side, right?
Okay.
So I'm not sure if Minnow had commercial accounts quite like you have, but I stopped in to talk to you about coming on the show here, and you had mentioned one of the companies that you do some business for, and the sheer numbers that they're sending your way. Like you said, these places are driving by so many places to get to you.
right.
So kind of speak a little bit about how you kind of, I'll say, wedged your way into a pretty big clientele over there.
Yeah. He did have one that I know of anyways. It was M&P, and they stayed on with me right away. So they were going through the same thing, though. They did trucks the first year, did trucks the second year, and they couldn't get trucks. So they've started doing some leasing or whatever, but hopefully that relationship picks back up again once they're able to get more trucks in. But yeah, I've picked up Plunkett's Pest Control, do about 80 trucks for them a year.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're full-on upfitted trucks. Doing trailer harness wiring, receiver hitches, toppers, cargo glides, floor mats. So it's not just
You get the truck and you make it ready for them.
yeah, absolutely. So
You're becoming more of a. It's almost like you're changing from being a
Topper.
salesman to
an upfitter.
You're an upfitter.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So the options, like I say, are almost endless.
Yeah.
There's so many different types of interior racking and stuff that nobody ever thinks of, and people.
Oh, absolutely. And that's a big thing. There's only a handful of companies in the area that do all that
Complete
upfitting.
upfitting. Yeah, yeah.
And their lead times are always so terrible because they've got such a big log. So
Right.
yeah, if you're able to break into that like you are, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
So definitely nice to have clients like that. So.
oh, absolutely. So on the commercial aspect, those toppers are. I noticed that like you've got. I drove by the other day and you had like 6 or something on the racks. Are those? Do you stock any commercial toppers too?
I don't. They're all sold.
Okay.
So
Do you actually have any inventory? Are you able to get any inventory?
I wouldn't, honestly. So I figured it out one time. If you did Chevy, Ford, Dodge, and Toyota, each bed size, and each paint color, I'd have over 400 toppers sitting.
That's a good point.
That doesn't take into account any of the customizations for side windows or front windows, interior options.
Yeah.
That's just a basic shell.
Yeah.
So I would need a lot bigger lot.
I was gonna say you don't have room for 400 over there. There's no way.
No.
No. So no, I don't stock any new stuff. I do some consignment stuff. Don't do a whole lot of. I don't buy or take in on trade. But if you were to bring it to, if you bought a topper from me and you're buying another one, I will try and sell your old one for you.
Yeah.
So
Do you do anything with their local junkyards at all?
not really. Usually, I find an outlet for them. They don't have to be pretty. I've got 4 or 5 chicken coops that are made out of toppers. I've got a couple fish houses that have toppers for roofs on them. Like I said, the functionality of the wet side windows don't have to work anymore to be a chicken coop. So, but
That's fair. That's fair. Speaking of fish houses, Minnow used to build them.
he did.
You
Built
gonna
them.
ever venture into getting into that, or is that not something on your horizon?
It was part of the original plan. I was going to start off with deer blinds. I did build a few of those, but it was just I couldn't build them fast enough, and the room that they ate up inside the shop, I can do. Wow, in the time that it took me to do a deer blind, I could have put on and sold 30 toppers. So it just wasn't feasible for myself. He had a network of bowling buddies, softball buddies that would get together. They'd all build the walls down in South Haven, trailer them up, and he would put the skin on. And the fish houses today versus the fish houses of yesterday are a lot different.
Oh, trust me, I got one of the ones from yesterday. And,
And back then, we thought they were great.
Oh, absolutely.
there's no creature comforts whatsoever in mine.
It might have a fold-down bench in it.
I don't even have that. I got a floor with some lawn chairs, and I got a heater
Yeah.
and 2 light bulbs.
And that's all you
I got
need.
in it.
That's all you need.
So compared to the ones of today where they've got fireplaces and 50-inch TVs.
And then you
yeah.
push a button, and your bed comes down from the ceiling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just not the same
No,
anymore.
I don't do any of the. So like I say, I've still got some material for some deer blinds, but I think that's just going to be for my own personal use. And if I ever get time to build one, that's what it'll go towards, and not really going to get into the fish house market. No.
Fair enough. It's just kind of a what if.
Yeah.
I'd probably hit you up for one someday.
And then you've been getting involved in a lot of things in town. Whenever there's
Yeah, like I said, trying to become a bigger part of the community.
Yep.
So yeah,
Which everybody appreciates, by the way. You know,
Yes.
there's a lot of businesses in town. Some are really, really good about being involved, and some could probably use a little bit of work with getting involved, either because they're too busy or they just don't have the interest.
right.
So it's good to see that you have the interest and you're doing what you can to become involved, and everybody appreciates that.
Makes a guy feel good about doing what he's doing, So I like to try and focus more on stuff that involves kids. So I sponsored and was a captain for the Annandale Fishing League for one season.
I just turned in my sponsorship for. I've sponsored for every year.
Have you?
Me and Patrick actually co-sponsor, and it's a really cool program. The speed in which it took off
Was insane.
is insane for sure. I mean,
Absolutely.
they were hoping to get 10 or 12, and I have no idea what they're up to now. But the picture that I get with the fishing team is a large number of kids. There's a ton of kids out
I
there.
think
and
they're fishing two for sure, if not 3 days or nights a week.
Okay.
Just because they don't have enough boats.
okay.
So if you're looking for a good write-off, buy yourself a boat if you have a captain.
If my CPA would allow me to write it off for 1 or 2 nights a week, I probably would get one.
And so, do you use your boat for that then?
Yeah, I did.
So you
Yep.
go out and
Yep.
you get a. So how does that work? You take like a couple
So
kids with you
I
each
don't-
time.
Yep. So the age restrictions are not restrictions, but the age structure of it. I don't have a child that's old enough yet, so you're just basically there for anybody that needs a boat. And yeah, they rotate through. Each week gets a different captain, so they get to experience different ways of fishing, different techniques, and just different. Everybody fishes a little different. I mean, they've got people like Jeff and Irene that's a tournament fisherman. And all the kids wanted to be in Jeff's boat. It's a really nice boat just for that reason alone, but they got to learn a lot more than when I was taking them fishing back. It's like, well, let's go catch some sunfish.
See, I don't fish enough to be a viable captain per se, except I know that most of the kids that have been doing this league for a year or two, I'll take them out just so they can show me something, because some of those kids are really, really good fishermen.
I learned stuff from the kids that I was captaining as well. I mean, I never even realized that. I mean, obviously YouTube's around, but the techniques and stuff that are out there that, I mean, the wacky crawlers. And I was like, what are you talking about? Or a wacky rig. That was the one that I call endearing. He's like, you don't have any wacky rigs? And I was like, no.
Oh, what's a wacky rig?
I left them at home.
I wonder what the difference between that and a Texas rig is, because I know one of those is.
Yeah, Texas, Carolina.
Yep.
Yeah. So it's also pertains to rubber plastic baits, but yeah, it's just hooking it sideways.
Well, the crazy part
Yeah,
about
it's
it
just
too
the
is
solid worm, right? With
yeah. The crazy part is it depends. Like one day want to work, one day the next to work, and you don't know which
Or
to
color.
use, so you try them. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like to learn those things at that age, that if this ain't working, we'll try something a little different, and then all of a sudden it works. Like it's a great skill to have. I don't have it, but a lot of these kids do, and it's really cool to be able to support something like that.
Well, and it's really cool. I think that they can actually letter in it, through school. If that was an option when I was going to school, I wouldn't have played football. I'd have been
Well, they
out
got
fishing.
trap. Yeah, you can do.
And you can do trap shooting now. Yeah, it's
so
awesome.
you mean I can go trap shooting in letter, and I can go fishing in letter.
Yeah.
You can play robotics in letter.
So that's another sponsorship that I did this year was the
cool.
robotics.
Yeah.
Yep. So.
Yeah, there's just so many cool things. So the robot, you got into that?
So a little bit. Just a cold call. Kid called me and I said, I don't know what you're trying to sell or whatever, but where are you at? And he's like, I'm at the high school. I was like, well, why don't you come down and kind of give me your pitch? So he came down and walked me through. They've got a few meets, or I believe is that what he called them, but they travel all over for it. There's not a lot local. I think he said Fargo was the closest one for him.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so it's like I can see where the travel expenses alone.
Yeah, I've sponsored the robotics team also, and Mr. Dickinson's daughter actually called me. I'm drawing a blank on her name. Sorry, but it was kind of fun because I talked to Josh after the fact, and he's like, we're trying to get these kids not just to do the robotics, but to learn the other aspects of it. Right, the pitch your pitch, go out and meet the community, show them what you're doing, explain to them what you're doing. And it was kind of a fun little trial and error because obviously I'm in sales. So I was kind of giving her some pointers as we were going along. Like maybe do it a little
and a
this
couple
way
extra
instead of
hurdles.
that. Yeah, maybe a
Throw
couple
'em a
extra hurdles.
curveball.
But the amount of money it takes for these guys to do
Yes.
what they're doing, like it's not a cheap endeavor.
No.
But it's super cool to see the kids take a bunch of random parts and make something that functions and does the things that the competition is requiring.
Yeah, it's I'm trying to blank on the erector set of our days.
Yeah.
That's what we had to play with. So
Yeah, Rector set.
Yeah, like I know one of the things that was explained to me they had to do was part of the competition was you had to build a robot that could pick up a basketball, get it off the ground, move it over to another spot, and lift it up high enough to put it into a basket. I couldn't do that. There's no way I could build something that could do that. And these are, I think it's 8th grade or 9th grade is the first year you can join. So, 14 to 18-year-olds doing it, and it's really cool because they have a passion about something that a lot of people may not have or
Right.
even know
Yeah.
about.
well, and it's so nice, like I say, that when we were in school, you had sports. Basketball,
You had your
baseball,
staples, and that was
volleyball, football. Right. The kids that weren't athletic, they got nothing. So now the fishing, the trap shooting, the robotics. It's just, and I think it's great.
It is. The opportunities are pretty
Definitely
great.
expanding. Yeah.
So moving forward into what are your future plans, if any, other than keeping your head afloat? Obviously.
So I've been working on a remodel of the showroom.
Okay.
Way longer than I had anticipated, but it's getting closer.
The design side or the getting actual stuff there?
No,
side?
the design part was easy. That was done in about a day and a half.
Okay.
The actual getting it to come to fruition is trying to do it all myself was obviously a little bit more than I could handle at the same time as keeping the business.
I mean,
running
starting
too,
a
so-
business, expanding, and
remodeling.
and
at the same
remodeling
time.
was
Yeah, while keeping the bathroom clean and everything else. Yeah.
and finding time to eat.
You got kids, right?
I've got one daughter, Charlie. Yep, she's 12.
Yeah, pay her to do the bathroom for you. That's one less thing.
She's putting on, she's done floor mats, running boards, seat covers.
And she's 12?
Yeah, no.
So it sounds like you've got
she's my
1
help.
3/4 employees.
Yeah, there you go. So when she's not at school, anyways, yeah. So she does come up every once in a while after school, but during the summer she's there. She's driving the forklift, and she's a little hesitant of picking a topper off the rack yet. But
That's a lot of money sitting there. I don't blame her.
yeah, well, he's got to start somewhere. So But no, so she does come in and help quite a bit, and she's even little projects. I mean, I get bulk connectors that need to be put together. So brought the box with when we went fishing, and she got paid for 2 hours of putting connectors together in the fish house.
Nice.
Teach her work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but she has to pay for that new iPhone she dropped in the fish hole. So
Oh, she's a victim of the phone down the
she's
fish hole.
officially Minnesotan. She's had one go down the hall.
Yeah.
I'm gonna knock on some wood quick. I am 44,
I should
have
too.
not dropped one down, but I also
Same.
don't have much opportunity 'cause I don't fish that often.
So last year, and it was, I could still talk down to her bad about it, but Stacy dropped hers down last year. So
Uh-oh.
we were fortunate enough to be able to fish Stacy's out, but we were in a lake that had a very soft bottom when Charlie dropped hers.
Ooh.
Couldn't see it.
It is
on
one with the
camera.
lake now.
Yep, exactly.
So my neighbor's daughter actually dropped her iPhone in the water, and it wasn't 4 feet from shore, and gone. Just never was
find
able
it.
to find it. No.
Wow.
So I get that soft bottom thing. It doesn't take much, and it's just completely gone.
Yeah. So
So you got a remodel coming. Do you have a projected date where you think that might be done?
I'm not putting another date on it because I've blown past everyone. So I will say that I was hoping to have it done by Thanksgiving of 21.
Of 21.
Yes.
So we're in 23 now.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress. It's a work in progress.
I mean, as long as you do a little bit every day, it'll get done someday, right?
Okay, that's what I'm doing wrong.
Okay.
Kind of go
We're getting there.
Kind of go in spurts, but yeah, it was at the point where I had to schedule a day or not schedule a day of appointments to get something done, and so I haven't started asking for help, and that's why it started picking up momentum again. So
Sounds about like me in my basement.
Hard to
It's
ask for
been
help.
It's
No, I
been a
can do
long
it.
progress, and my wife gets on me all the time. She's like, "When are you going to finish it?" I'm like, "I don't know, whenever I feel like it."
That's me and my deck. I got it, so it's usable. I got to finish putting the skirting. And it's like, yeah,
you don't really need that, do we?
there's like 4 decking companies in the area. I can do it myself.
Save a couple bucks, yeah.
Should just hire somebody.
So you got remodel you're working on.
Yeah.
Will be done eventually.
Yes.
Any other big plans in the future? You're just going to kind of keep forging forwards and sponsoring the awesome things around and being active in the community like you should and have been.
For now, that's kind of the plan, yeah.
Hold steady.
Yep. So I've got some room to make some changes. I've got a few ideas, down the road a little ways. So it's kind of seeing how it's going to actually play out. I mean, the interest rates are changing, the market's changing. I haven't had a normal year yet. So back to the COVID.
You've got no baseline.
Right. So everybody had time off. Everybody had extra money in their pocket. Everybody was going out camping, four-wheeling, anything outside where that's, right up my lane. So we're going to have to see where the baseline is.
That's fair. That's fair.
So, but no, there's thoughts of, adding a stall or changing some stuff around to make it a little bit more productive. So there'll be nothing in the very near future, but we'll get a couple years of a baseline. And
Well, the fact that you've gotten it established well enough, you have a clientele base to keep, some pretty regular business going through. I mean, we wish you nothing but the best moving forward, and we're kind of excited to see what comes of said remodel someday. And if you expand, that's awesome to see because every expansion in town is just an amazing thing. But aside from that, I mean, it's been great to see where it was, what you took over, and where you are now. Like just the transformation, not just in dollars and cents wise, but just the fact that there's movement and things going on there all the time. I always see you outside on forklift, moving stuff around, unloading trucks, pulling stuff in, pulling stuff out. And for a while there, it was pretty dormant over there.
yeah, well, it's just hurry up and wait for the snow to melt so I can quit unloading toppers in the street. Running out of room.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's pretty exciting. I mean, I've been out of town and on the other side of the state, and somebody asks where you're at, and you tell them, "Oh, yeah, I got my topper down there. What's one of the Rasset?" Yeah, it's just funny. Everybody knows you, and everybody knew Minnow, and now everybody's you're established now, and people are funneling through, and they get to know you, and you're keeping that base. I mean, growing, and it's exciting to be out of town, and someone goes, "Oh yeah, truck made toppers."
So not too long ago, started putting the decals on the back. Kind of like your dealerships. You've got the logo on the back of the tailgate or the trunk lid. But anyway, so I've been doing that now for 5-6 months or so, and it's kind of fun because you actually start seeing your logo out there on
Oh,
other
yeah.
people's vehicles.
Yeah.
And when Charlie comes home from school, she's like, Dad, I saw 3 trucks today on the bus ride home that had your sticker on it.
Nice, nice.
Yeah, it's just a little warm, fuzzy feeling inside. So
Well,
It's
I've
just
been
that instant gratification when
Exactly,
you see it.
yeah.
Like, because you start with essentially, I don't want to go far as saying nothing, but you start from scratch, we'll say. And to build a brand and then all of a sudden see it start kind of sprout up here, there, and everywhere. Now, I guarantee that you'll get a completely different warm, fuzzy feeling if you're up in Lake of the Woods or, Devil's Lake
South
out on a
Dakota.
fishing trip. And all of a sudden you're like,
Yes.
wait, that's mine. I did that. That's me. And it's just a really cool feeling to see.
Yep. No, we passed quite a few of them actually. We went out to Big Stone four times this winter, and
Which is where? Big Stone?
it's a lake in western Minnesota.
Okay. I don't know where it is. I just had to
Oh,
ask.
I'm sorry. I thought you were being silly there.
No, I'm being
okay.
serious.
So it's on the Minnesota.
Don't fish a whole lot. Fish is a whole lot.
I gotcha. Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota border. Should say South Dakota border.
Okay.
But anyways, it's about a 2.5 hour drive, so you get a chance to little windshield time, and yeah, definitely. And once you're on the lake, we saw a couple out there, so it's kind of neat. You go over and visit, have a beer with them or whatever, and they think that, and I do too. I mean, like I said, getting back to that relationship, not just a customer. How are you guys doing over there? Well, we did pretty good. So, there's plenty of room over there. If you want to slide over, come on over. So,
Nice. That's awesome. That's awesome.
but yeah, so no, it's been great. In it for the long haul. So
That's
Yeah.
good. Well, it's exciting seeing exactly like Rick said, somebody come in and take a business and keep it going is one, but expanding it and really growing it is pretty exciting. And it's just one more neat little asset we've got here in town, and it's always fun that
Rasset the asset.
asset the asset. Yeah,
I like that.
It's just kind of nice that you've got that business going good enough that and strong enough that when someone calls and says, "Hey, I need a topper," we just send you right down the street and you take it. And it's nice knowing that.
and I appreciate that as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's
It's just nice knowing that you can send them to somebody
And
you
trust
know
that
they're
they're
going to
gonna
be
get
taken
taken
care
care
of. And yeah, you've definitely got that going down there.
it's good to hear.
Well, that being said, I would say it's been a pleasure having you in here. We wish you nothing but the most success moving forward. You are our second guest on the Lake Town podcast. If anybody hasn't seen, I'll put your website in the description below on Facebook and on YouTube and other places that I go to. So if you want to check out your store or his store, you can just click directly onto the website and check them out. I'm assuming you have Facebook also.
Yep.
Okay.
Facebook, Instagram.
I will. I'll work on tagging you on there also. And then wish you nothing but the best. Appreciate you being on here. Everybody, come check out his store, especially I'd say before and after remodel. So maybe you can see
There
the
you go.
the
Yep, the
effect
before
of
and
before
after.
and
Yeah,
after. Yeah,
so-
yeah.
I would say we're closer to the after already. So
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
And yeah, he's right on Highway 50. Yeah, you want to give it a description of
yeah,
where you're
sure.
at?
Right on Highway 55 by Dairy Queen. You can't miss all the toppers. See them from the highway.
Everybody's gone through the Dairy Queen drive-through, so everybody's seen the front of your store.
And
Exactly.
and your website?
As truckmatetoppers.com.
Simple enough.
Fair enough. Well, thank you again. Appreciate it.
Thanks for coming on.
Well, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for including me.